we will identify them loosely with four different historical figures. The Jeffersonian, where the emphasis is on avoiding foreign entanglements to the extent possible, particularly conflicts. You want to have small government, a lively democracy, a popular democracy, and if you are very active, particularly militarily abroad, you have much bigger government, more centralized power, and this is, according to the Jeffersonian view, not good for the kind of democracy that he favored. Of course, that was 2 centuries ago. But those ideas about small government, avoiding foreign entanglements and alliances, they still have a certain place in the American mind. It's a minority place. It's a small place, but it's still there. Then the Hamiltonian, there the emphasis is on strengthening the country economically and its business interests abroad. That's the main emphasis. And then you have a better country if you are a richer country. That still is an important consideration in American foreign policy. And we now believe, and have believed since the 1930s or 40s at least, that having an open trading system and having globalization is good for America, good for the American economy. We also tend to think it's good for the world, but we know it's good for the American economy. It's not good for all parts of the economy. It has led to greater inequality, as you know, but there are many people who put a lot of emphasis on that part of foreign policy. Then there are the idealists, the Wilsonians. They want to do R2P, they want to do humanitarian intervention, they want to spread democracy, they want to promote human rights. Jimmy Carter, you could say, exemplified the Wilsonian idealism. Paradoxically, George W. Bush had the rhetoric of Wilsonian idealism. And to some extent, I think he believed it. He was a man of simple ideas. And then there is the Jacksonian, which is not concerned with derechos humanos and the rest of the world, just wants the rest of the world to not bother the United States. Don't get in our way. Don't insult us, and certainly don't come into conflict with us, because if you do, then we drop everything else and we fight and we make you very sorry. And as I said, that Jacksonian element becomes powerful when something bad happens in the external environment. So the early stages of the Cold War, and 9/11, of course, and Pearl Harbor. Then everything was subordinated to demolishing the Japanese and demanding unconditional surrender. That's the Jacksonian spirit. After 9/11, the Jacksonian spirit was very strong in the country, and that enabled Bush and the people around him to launch the war in Iraq, because otherwise public opinion would not have been supportive. Most people believe that hard power is real power. Ordinary people believe that, as well as political leaders. It's a very common view, because with hard power you can destroy something, or you can occupy a country, you can do something very tangible. Yes, we did that, or we can do that. Soft power is, by its nature, more subtle, and it's harder to measure. People don't tend to believe in it. They think they sometimes talk about it, but they think when it comes to anything difficult, it's the hard power. But the problem is that for soft power to be powerful, you have to spend money. Oh, well, there are two elements to soft power. One is to have a good image in the world. So if you are a democracy, thriving, people in the country seem happy, and you you seek cooperative relations with other countries, then people tend to have a good vision of you. Like Norway, people say that's a nice country, nice people. You see. Well, that itself is soft power. And if you seem to be working effectively, you have good schools, good universities, your economy is working effectively, and other people say, good model. That is soft power. The other is more active soft power, where you go abroad and you try to help people abroad. And I'll give you an example. After the tsunami in Asia, and remember there was great injury in Indonesia along the coastline. And immediately the US Navy sent ships over and they brought in relief. They brought in medical units to help the people who had survived the tsunami. Well, there was public opinion polling in Indonesia before and after, and attitudes toward the United States changed dramatically as a consequence of that. That is soft power in action. So suppose we decided to build schools for poor children all over the Arab world. Instead of spending more than $1 trillion for the war in Iraq, we had spent $200 million to build schools and then turn them over to progressive Islamic teachers and professors and intellectuals. That would be soft power in action. I think it would have a lot of influence on Islamic views of the United States, but that's a lot of money. And it's much easier to get Congress to legislate for the military than it is to get them to build schools, because they can say, we have some bad schools here, why are we building schools abroad? So it's hard to generate the political support for a large-scale active soft power.